The judges leaned forward as the boy reached the center of the stage. Simon Cowell glanced at his card, curious. The boy introduced himself in a soft voice, explaining that he was 10 years old and had traveled all the way from the Philippines with his family. The audience responded with warm applause. When asked why he came to America's Got Talent, the boy smiled and said he wanted to sing, not just to win, but to make his parents proud and to show kids back home that dreams could come true no matter where you are from. Simon asked him a simple question about how he felt standing on such a big stage. The boy took a deep breath and admitted he was nervous, but also happy, because this was the biggest dream of his life. There was something about his honesty that instantly connected with the crowd. No dramatic speech, no rehearsed lines, just a child speaking from the heart. When it was time to perform, the boy walked toward the microphone. The music had not even started yet, but the room was already quiet. You could feel the tension, the kind that comes right before something important happens. Simon leaned back in his chair, arms crossed, his usual skeptical expression on his face. He had seen thousands of singers over the years. A 10-year-old child was going to have to do something very special to truly impress him. The first notes of the music began softly. The song choice surprised everyone. It was a classic, emotional ballad, the kind of song even adult singers struggle to perform. A few people in the audience exchanged worried looks, thinking the song might be too big for such a young voice. Then the boy started singing. From the very first line, the entire theater froze. His voice was clear, powerful, and filled with emotion far beyond his age. It was not just technically good. It was heartfelt. Every word carried meaning. Every note felt honest. The nervous child who had walked onto the stage moments earlier seemed to disappear, replaced by a performer completely lost in the music. The audience members slowly leaned forward in their seats, listening closely, afraid to miss a single note. Simon Cowell's expression began to change, his arms uncrossed. He leaned forward, his eyes widened slightly. This was not what he expected. This was not just a cute kid with a decent voice. This was raw talent. As the song continued, the boy closed his eyes and sang as if he were telling his own story. You could hear the struggle, the hope, the longing in his voice. People in the audience began wiping tears from their eyes. Some placed hands over their mouths in disbelief. The other judges looked at each other, clearly realizing they were witnessing something extraordinary. Halfway through the performance, the crowd began to applaud softly, unable to hold back their emotion. The boy reached the most difficult part of the song, a high note that many singers fail to hit cleanly. He took a breath and delivered it perfectly. The sound filled the theater, strong and controlled, sending chills through everyone listening. Simon Cowell sat completely still, his face serious, his eyes locked on the stage. For a man known for his harsh criticism and high standards, this moment was rare. He was genuinely impressed. As the song moved toward its final moments, the boy's voice softened again, ending on a gentle note that lingered in the air even after the music stopped. For a second, there was complete silence. Then the theater exploded. The audience jumped to their feet in a massive standing ovation. Cheers echoed through the room. People screamed, clapped, and cried all at once. The judges stood up too, applauding with smiles on their faces. The boy stood frozen, overwhelmed, his hands shaking as he tried to understand what was happening. Simon Cowell stood as well, something he does not do lightly. He looked around at the audience, then back at the boy on stage. When the noise finally settled, Simon spoke. He told the boy that in all his years on talent shows, he had seen many young singers, but what made this performance special was not just the voice. It was the emotion, the control, and the courage it took to stand on that stage at such a young age and deliver a performance like that. He said the boy did not sing like a child trying to sound like an adult. He sang like an artist telling a story. The other judges shared their praise, calling the performance magical, unforgettable, and deeply moving. One judge said they felt goosebumps from start to finish. Another said this was the kind of moment the show was made for. The boy listened quietly, tears forming in his eyes. When asked how he felt, he struggled to speak. He thanked the judges, the audience, and his parents, who were shown crying and hugging each other backstage. He said he never imagined this moment could happen to him. Then something unexpected happened. Simon Cowell paused, looked at the other judges, and smiled. The audience began to murmur, sensing something big was coming. Simon turned back to the boy and said there were moments on this show that reminded him why he started doing this in the first place. He said this was one of those moments. Simon slowly stood up and walked toward the golden buzzer. The crowd erupted in screams. The boy's eyes widened in shock. He raised his hands to his mouth, unable to believe what he was seeing. Simon pressed the buzzer. Golden confetti rained down from the ceiling, covering the stage in a storm of gold. The music played loudly as the audience roared with excitement. The boy fell to his knees, crying, overwhelmed by emotion. His parents ran onto the stage, hugging him tightly as tears streamed down their faces. Simon returned to the judges' table and watched the scene with a rare look of satisfaction. He later said this was one of the easiest golden buzzer decisions he had ever made. The moment quickly went viral around the world. Videos of the performance spread across social media, gaining millions of views within hours. People from the Philippines and beyond shared messages of pride and inspiration. Many said the boy's story gave them hope, reminding them that talent knows no age, no borders, and no limits. For the boy, life changed overnight. Interviews, messages of support, and opportunities began pouring in. But despite all the attention, he remained humble, always thanking his family, his supporters, and his country for believing in him. This performance was not just about winning a competition. It was about a child with a dream, standing on one of the biggest stages in the world, and proving that passion and hard work can create magic. Moments like these are why we watch. Moments that make us feel. Moments that remind us that sometimes the biggest voices come from the smallest people.